a warm welcome to yet another episode, another edition of the Sports Talk Arena. My name is Timothy, and of course today in this week, on this special edition here, we get to bring you yet another best of the local stories here, talking about the things happening at URA, talking about the rugby in there. There is funding that is set to come from the mother governing body there, all to all the Olympic registered national teams in there. Lots of transfers happening locally. KCCA rejecting that bid from APR for their central defender Kato in there. Lots of stories happening locally. But of course, my name is Timothy. And not alone in the studio today. I've been joined by two gentlemen. There is one addition that has jumped on board in there. I wanna pick it up from him. Wizzy.
Yeah, man.
How are you doing?
I'm good. You? I'm actually so happy to be here again. I know it's been long, since I was here. So it's so grateful that I always pass through. Like, we have to talk sports because sports is way. So really, I'm always happy and grateful whenever I pass by.
Yeah. So what's happening at Wakiso Giants? I'm told your Wakiso Giants are die hard.
I think we're just looking forward for the new season. I think everything is set. You guys, I don't think you'll be able to, go on Giants this time around.
Don't throw stones at Express, please. I know what you're thinking
you guys,
about.
You lose your players like nothing. So really, when I get to you, I don't know how it will be, but just know access.
Of course, when you talk about Wakiso, they're really up to for next season. They're up to competitions because if you're passing a budget of 200 over 200,000 US dollars.
Yeah.
Then you're looking at a massive investment in there. You're talking about 800 million. That is a very big budget there compared to.
No, we want to win a trophy. We don't now. The first season was competing. So right now we want to take the trophy home.
Are you sure aren't you being too ambitious as a club about 3 years old and you?
You tell me about Vipers. Okay, well, no, it was Bunamwai, but again when it came back, Vipers took I think only 2 seasons and to win the trophy. It depends on how you have prepared yourself, like how you have invested in your team. So really, I think Wax is doing.
How sure are you're going to fluke in other clubs like the KCCA that you have talked about, the Vipers, you have talked about, and URA is in there, big club.
No, Timo, when you're talking about the big club, I think you have to talk about KCCA and Vipers only. Because
URA is in there.
Those guys who can, match up,
Jeremiah.
Yes, my brother.
How are you doing?
I'm doing quite good.
What's happening? What have you noticed so far in the sporting world locally?
Locally, I've noticed what has been happening down there with Cheptegei and the funding that was brought in by the Olympic Committee from Tokyo. And let's go forward and see what will happen soon in there. But as we start off, we are going to be talking about transfers, and in those different transfers, I was very excited to hear about different teams talking about Kato, but I don't want him to leave Lugogo best brand for the best reasons you really know.
Yeah. But of course, kick-starting it, Jacob, rather Wizzy, I want us to pick it up from Cheptegei. He went on prior to the tournament in Monaco. Yeah. The 5,000 meters away went ahead to break the record that had been standing there from about 2004 that had been held by the Ethiopian Bekele. He went on to break the record in there. Before the race, the talk was that will Cheptegei be able to break the record? People were not saying that will he be able to defend the title, but they were talking, is he going to be the person to break the record? He went on to the competition. He broke the record in there, returned and went into self-isolation in Interior in Kapchora town in there. And now he's back on his feet. What do you make of Cheptegei?
I think Cheptegei is trying to, prove a point in Uganda. So as you have just said, when he went, people were like, is he going to, defend? but they're not. Actually, the people were like, he's going to put up a new record, but they're not looking up to whether he'll win or not. So he went ahead and proved that what, I can also put up my record that has not been there. So really, if you look at Cheptegei, I wish and I pray so hard that I wish Uganda had some best grounds of such people to put in place so that they can go and, because if you look at our training gestures really are not that appealing, but if a player can work in such a small condition, such not so much good condition, and goes on and get that good record there, breaking records here and there. Really look at Cheptegei and we think Cheptegei is trying to put our flag up. As musically they say Edikes has tried to lift that flag high for Ugandan Cranes. Now as we look at Cheptegei, is trying to do more amazing stuff here. I think as a president, as a government, I think they should give him something, he will actually look at for some good years to come. Maybe his children to look up to, but not. I also heard, who is this boxer who just died?
Bugembe?
The kickboxer.
It should be Bugembe.
I think that one. Yeah. I was so hurt. I was so hit. When I heard that.
He needed actually money to go undergo that surgery.
You get?
Yeah.
So, but the guy, lifted our flag high. So really, we have to look for these guys when they're still in prime time. But when we wait for them to get off and we still look up to them, really, it's not so good. Like it portrays some bad picture to we young, sportsmen. Yeah. So when I look at some, let's say the one Limbo, this guy footballer who was at Ugandan Cranes, Fimbo Mukaza. Yeah, also trying to go staying under some poor circumstances. Man, Uganda really need to look up to this players when they are still in active soccer and so on sport there.
Jeremiah.
Yes.
Now that he has been able to break this record, now his attention turns up to the Olympics that have been postponed and pushed to the coming years due to the pandemic there. How do you see him performing at the Olympics?
Well, this is a Cheptegei we're talking about. A Cheptegei whereby if I do recall so properly, it's about 5 years ago. The young man you saw limping down there at Kololo, and everyone was laughing and saying all sorts of words. But he has quite done a lot, and he has broken, by the way, is it around 2 records? One was in Valencia in Spain, and another down there in Monaco. And right about now, let's say the country is expecting a lot from him. But what can we talk about funding him? By this time, we should be supporting him because he's trying to put out different projects down there in Kapchorwa. Yeah. For example, the running straight of all the athletes that are coming from that region of Kapchorwa, and I think the government should try and support him. But about the upcoming Olympics in 2021 that are going to be taking place in Tokyo, I do really see him as bringing back the gold medal. Because at the moment in the world, if you are to see, the only person that was putting him back in the world was Mo Farah, and at the moment you could see Mo Farah has retired, and by the time he retired, you could see Cheptegei had already held the flag high and he was ready to take up those gold medals. But in the Olympics 2021, I really see him bring back a gold medal if all goes well.
Jacob, he has set out his mind now. He has now turned his focus, not only just being the greatest that we have in Uganda, but is now looking up to be the greatest that this world has seen, the greatest athletes, marathoners, long distance runners that this world has seen. With the kind of attitude and the mindset that he is having, he's already back in camp, back in training, gearing up. Do you see him rise to that challenge and make it to becoming one of the greatest that this world has produced?
Why not? Why not? I think Cheptegei has all it takes to to be that greatest athletic in the history of the world. I want to disagree with my brother, Jeremiah. He just said he don't think he's going to do some magic again in Tokyo when it comes to that. The next competition that coming up.
Actually, said is we really do expect him to bring back a gold medal.
Oh, then I didn't get you well. But I thought you said he cannot do it.
No, I can't.
I think this guy is going to, be one of the greatest athletic in Uganda. As to me, I think he has what it takes. When you look at how he splits, when you look at how the way, he keeps on going without losing gas. Really, this guy is just, you might think he has some metals inside him. Really, it's just amazing.
Jeremiah.
Yes, sir.
We have seen athletes come and disappear in a short run. We have had Kipsiro come.
Yeah.
In a short run, he has disappeared. He had the fair share of his struggles and with the federations and what.
Yes.
We have had Kipsiro coming there with the London marathon, London Olympics, banged the medal, and then he went off the mark. Now we are having Cheptegei in there standing. Well, he's still going, and we are looking up for him. He's still young, and we are looking up to him to shine more further on the global scene in there, Olympics, and becoming one of the greatest athletes that this world has seen. Of what inspiration is it to athletes that we have in the country? Because I understand he doesn't train alone. He trains with a crop of young athletes that are looking up to making to the level that he has made. Of what inspiration is it to them?
A very, very big inspiration. Talking about those runners you've been listing down there, don't forget we had a whole athlete all in what's his name? This man,
Chiprotich.
Yeah, Chiprotich.
Yeah.
I think for him, his shine of stardom came around when he was getting kind of older, but the other runners, like the likes of the Chipsiros and Dorcas Nzikuru, if you're not forgetting down there, Dorcas Nzikuru, I think
she gave birth.
Yeah,
things messed up.
Motherhood took her up and she couldn't get back. But but on what's his name? Sorry, Cheptegei's side, we could see he has started quite early. He has been young and. It's the same case that happened with Chipsiro, but with Cheptegei, it's getting kind of different because at his age of 21, he has broken very, very many records that we never expected. Many athletes and and physically, you can see he's still mentally strong and physically strong, and I think I don't even think he is an inspiration to all the athletes. If he's training down there with all those athletes in Kapchora, those young ones, he is an inspiration, and I'm sure they are all looking up to him. If he has done it, why not? Why can't they do it too?
Of course, if you ask me, I do look up to him. I'm very positive that he's one of those athletes that Africa and Uganda and the globe is going to be looking at as the next big thing. In fact, he's already in that bracket of those athletes that have made history, because he has gone ahead to break the record in there. So he's actually now on the list of those athletes that other people are looking up to, overtaking their record, because if he has been able to break the record down, then there should be someone else who is looking up to breaking that record. But with the kind of his mindset, his positivity, the way he keeps on going, the way he's committed in there, I really there is more that we are going to see from him. He's yet to deliver us more and more and more. And of course, I
think, Timo, we shouldn't expect so much from this guy, because
we just have to be positive.
You know why I'm saying this? We have seen guys come and go. You have given us some good examples, but guys have come and gone away. We don't even know where they are right now. The issue is the government should come on board. They start supporting these guys. Yeah. The moment these guys are going to keep on bringing good positive results to our country, and the government keep on not supporting them,
they also need motivation.
They are going to lose hope. They are going to they will start being mentally disturbed. They will start looking up to other things that will get them money. They'll be like, why would I go and run for the country and I end up not getting something? Let me go and do some business in Chikuba and get some money. That's how people end up losing on, letting out, sports go like that. So really, the government has to come on board.
But,
Of course, Jeremiah, time is ticking and our time is running down. Putting that aside, let's talk rugby, because the rugby sevens, the rugby union is set to receive a portion of funds from the governing body that has allocated at $2.5 million for every qualified team for the Olympic Games, for the preparation for the Olympics. That means that there's a portion of money that our rugby cranes, the rugby sevens is set to receive as they gear up for the final qualification round. That was and in the qualification round of rugby in France. They were slated to participate alongside Zimbabwe, having finished runners-up in the recently 2019 African rugby sevens in there. They were supposed to travel to France for the final qualification round to earn the ticket into the 2020. They are now the postponed Olympics 2021 in there. What do you make of this financial aid that has come to the rugby union, Jeremiah?
At the moment, the rugby union has been the rugby as a whole, as a federation, has been a sector whereby very little funds have been given to them over time, and you can see all the rugby players there are in a state of being semi-professional or not even professional, because most of them are having two jobs, and you can get to see rugby players. One is working and at the same time he's in there.
Hobby, you're playing it as a hobby,
Yeah, and he's playing rugby as a hobby. But you also have a few names like Okos. Sorry, we usually call him Okos. Philip Okorach, who are up there in France, and as time goes on, they usually come back and play for the national team, and I think it's a very huge boost for those here at home. But on the funding, I was told that it's going to go to the training camps and the different players
preparations, of course, for the Olympic Games.
Yeah, for the HSBC, and looking forward to that. All those teams included in there, they have been given that such of money. Okay, that portion of money, including the likes of Zimbabwe's and the so-ons, all those countries in there. And with this money, I think it can make a difference in the preparations, because at the moment you haven't been having a lot of money due to the current situation which is happening here in the country, and I think as well even other countries which are not here, although I think to the extent of Uganda and the rugby association as a whole, it has not really been good financially. So this money is going to help them in facilitating all those trips and the transport issues, the federation in there. Let's wait and see what will be transpiring.
Wesley, with less funding that the rugby union gets in there, not very many sponsors to talk about, and even if those that are there, they try to give in their best, but still the fact is there is underfunding in the rugby union. But when you look at our rugby, we are among the big boys, I say, on the continent, because we have lifted the rugby Gold Cup. We have lifted the rugby cup title for the 15 versions, and then when you look at the 7 versions, we defended 2 back-to-back in 2018, and then in the previous year we defended them before losing out to Zimbabwe in the semi-final round in there. We look at our performance in the sevens. It's promising. We have gone to the global HSBC competitions in there. They recently concluded in South America, where we finished about 7th out of 16 teams in there. You look at big clubs are coming in there, big teams coming in to compete there. What do you make of our progress in rugby?
I think we are progressing a little bit, slowly, but we're growing gradually. To me, I think, given the fact, like the way you have said, our boys have tried to, lift that game. No, rugby is not that known sport in Uganda. So people don't give it too much attention to rugby.
Yes.
So really, with the little resources that those guys having, they are trying to make magic. Trying to go on global and try to bring cups home. Really, I think rugby needs too much funding. Like the way you have just said, okay, they are putting on board something and they have some funds. I think they should continue like that. Now that you have been having that little space of funding. But you see the boys have been trying to play this game quite somewhere there, trying to put up some good performances. I think it just needs our support. I was talking to some guy some day back. The guy who told me, like, if you put too much money in sports like athletics, games like rugby, it actually and netball, it will make more much sense than putting into soccer that we go and pray. When you go to for AFCON, we are praying to get out of the group stages.
Because when you talk about I can give you an example of a netball. We have gone twice to the Netball World Cup, and every time we have appeared there, we have had an improved performance and in terms of finishing in the better position at the World Cup in there. But when you look at the rugby league in there, it's one of not really that famous, not really that known by many people as they would know football in there. You look at the facilities like the stadia, fine in football. In football itself, they are not really big to talk about. In terms of facilities, they are not there. Those that are there, that could be there, are not in the best of shape. Namibia itself is not in the best of shape, that it has been deemed not fit for continental for FIFA games in there.
Yeah.
That shows you that the lack of sporting infrastructure that we have in the country in general. You talk about the representation or the top tier league in there. In all the other sporting disciplines, you realize that majority of the teams are in the central region. Leave around football, if at least you have tried to have some football teams in the national league come out, and then in the big league, coming from different parts of the region in there. A little bit of in the ladies league in there in football. But you talk about netball, all the clubs are basically within Kampala here.
Let me tell you one thing. You actually in your statement you just said even soccer we don't have that too much funding. But trust me, Timo, in football, we're going to have like 10% of people who are going to come on board crying, for some, good money to go in soccer. But I've never seen people crying for a rugby. Okay, if they are there, it's only 1% of people that are crying for a rugby, a game to go on. So I think we Ugandans have to also open up. We also start to look up to this game. I personally, I look at rugby so much because it really gives me a sense of peace in my mind. Like whenever I watch these games, the way guys put into man, what makes me down is that this guy put in a lot of energy.
Yeah, because they do have to go regular gym sessions in there. These guys need to be energetic. They need to feed in a lot.
Yeah, even the food they eat, it's quite expensive. So I think we have to get but we have big companies in Uganda. I think Coca-Cola should come on board. Club Beer should come on board. To put in these guys. We need to. I suppose need to grow like so big in Uganda, and we get
Yeah, they have Nile Special. There.
Yeah, Nile Special.
Yeah, but of course, if you ask me really, I think not only just these federations that have like football and now rugby that have benefited from global funding. I think the rest of the federations, different sports federations need, I think, assistance from in one way or the other from the government and from their governing bodies in there because it's not only these fewer sporting disciplines that have been affected, but sport in general has been affected. So there is need for funding for all the federations that are registered and that are running in the country in there.
Timo, as we conclude on this matter, one thing I know about Uganda, we have to come out and cry out to the people. Now let's talk about boxing. Boxing has been quite
actually one of those sports that
it has been bringing a lot of medals.
We have had the boxing federation president Alex Mwangi tried to organize a few things in there in a short time that he has been in the office. There is a lot that he has turned around that people had been in power for years could not do. But the thing that he has been crying about is funding in there. There's really less funding in the boxing fraternity.
But at least he has tried to put up some change, because we used to know, okay, guys could even qualify for the national, the continental boxing, but they end up not going because of transport issues and so on. But right now, facilitation and so on there. But as we talk now, at least we can manage. You can manage to take some 5 guys outside Uganda to represent the country. So I think
a whole team, in fact,
like the concluded ones. So I think the whole of rugby, sporting side of it, they should also come out as a team. They're still crying out, like really crying out. I think they will get some support from the government. But when they're seated in the comfortable zones, trust me, you're not going to get anything from this government.
Jeremiah,
yes.
Which are some of those sporting disciplines that you feel that the government should be allocating a lot of funding?
Netball, athletics in there, not leaving behind rugby.
Top 5. You've given so far 3.
Top 5.
Yeah.
Top 5. I would had hockey in there, because I've seen things happen down there in Austria when the Special Olympics people went there, and I saw we have a lot of manpower that can make a difference in the hockey world. Then football too.
So you're
putting up soccer.
You're kicking out football.
Yeah.
With it.
No, as in.
With it.
Yeah.
Your top 5 that the government should be really looking up to and putting lots of funding.
I think first will be athletics. The second will be soccer. The third will be rugby there, and I think the fourth will be netball, and lastly hockey.
So you're kicking out boxing.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. Boxing has to be in there.
Jeremiah,
one of my
with
favorites.
football, with football, football has been given something.
But not that much.
No, it's enough that being given 10 millions by NCS on a calendar year is way too much money.
10 million, 10 billion.
10 billion.
Okay. The question is, do players get that money?
Jeremiah.
No, it's not all about the players, the national teams and the teams.
But they need to be a motivated men.
Let's go for
the club owners motivate them, yes?
Let's go for a commercial break. When we get back, much more. Welcome back from that break. You're still logged in to the Sports Talk Arena, where we get to bring you the best of local sports. My name is Timothy, and in studio I am with Jeremiah, and not forgetting Wizzy. You love me when you call his name over and over. But of course, talking football matters. URA have finally confirmed that their CEO, Henry Mayeku, getting back, having served once at the club. He worked once at URA for between 2011 and 2016. And now he returns in there. During his time of service at URA, he served in a different capacity. He comes in having won in the previous time that he was at URA, having won Uganda Cup. He won in a league title. I actually 2 Uganda Cups and a league title in there. What does he bring on table for URA now that he returns as a CEO for the club?
I think it is always good to bring back people that have been at the club. We have seen even on a global. They're trying to bring back the players, the people that have actually been, the people that know the origin of the club,
know the culture.
And the culture of the club. So really, it makes sense to bring back that guy. But I just think okay, now they have brought him back. They should give him, that helping hand so that he can, bring in some, good, players to, put, try to lift that URA team to where it is supposed to be. But right now, he's talking. I think it's a great gesture to bring that guy back. To me, I think he's going to help him. He's going to help them out if at all he's being supported by the club. So I think to me it's going to be a good advantage to this club.
Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Over the years, we have had lots of confusion at URA, issues concerning interference. From the board interfering with the with the coach.
Yeah.
So what task lies ahead of him that URA has taken some time? It's a while since the last one a trophy. a Uganda Cup. At least they were close to 6 years. Nothing to talk about in there. In terms concerning trophies. What task lies ahead of him? Will he be able to sort out the issues that URA has had? Because URA would be, I can say that I can term them as Real Madrid, because government funded. They basically tax each and every business, each and every person in this country.
Talking about Henry Mayeko at URA, I won't say that Henry Mayeko has been a lot into the face of football, but he was formerly there at URA as a financial stability officer. He has replaced Ivan Kakembo, who we all know that
who was spitting fire.
Yeah, who was spitting fire and wasn't in good terms with Sam Simba at URA, and you could see Sam Simba was all against the transfers the Ivan Kakembos were making with their board, but with Henry Mayeko, who has come in, we expect that the board has already gotten them to join hands with Sam Simba in order to work out things there. Previously, let's talk about the last season, as we have seen stuff. Last season hasn't been a bad season for URA, where we saw URA bringing on different players like Samson Chigozi, who left for KCCA, and the likes of the Mickey Dads. But the players who have been there, who Sam Simba was talking about, the Rothomios,
yes,
that Ivan Kakembo brought in, and the likes of Shafiq Kajimukuchi, who have been
actually, I think the players that he has had, he didn't want in the beginning. Yeah. At first, have turned out to be the players that have been key to his team.
Of course.
He talked about Rothomio having come from Paida Black Angels as the captain of the team. He came into URA. He brought in change in there in that attack line, in that forward line.
Yes.
He has scored in goals in for them. And then you talk about Shafiq Kajimu, very inspirational, outstanding.
But Shafiq Kajimu has been there even before Ivan Kakembo.
He has been there. But now that now that he has come in, will he be able to clear out the camp of URA? Will he be able to sort out the confusion in the club?
At the moment at URA, I wouldn't say that there is any confusion at the moment. At the moment, URA just need to get a defender and a prolific striker, and I believe they got Steven Desemukwala from Maroons FC, and he looks set to do the job. But with the new CEO, you know, in Uganda we have taken the CEO role to be a position whereby the CEO is the unsigning players in the club, which is not right on international football, whereby it's the coach and the sporting director. But in Uganda, it's the CEO. But we can't do anything about it. And let's just expect something from Henry Mayeko, because we haven't seen him work as a CEO anywhere else, and we are just hoping they get to hold hands with Sam Simba and be in the right conditions so that they can take URA as a club forward.
Wizzy, previously he served as the club secretary general, where in that position the club won about 2 trophies, as I mentioned, the 2 Ghana Cups, and there is a league title. And then he jumps in now in a bigger position as the club CEO. Do you see him taking URA to greater heights, maybe reclaim the league title?
I think he can do that, but with the support of the club, like I said, people who put in money. I know he is right now. We look up to him as a CEO of the club, but he's not the one, you know, putting that money from his pocket to, you know, buy players. So really, if the club comes on board and supports him, you know, purchasing good players, you know, making sure the coach is well satisfied, you know, like you have just said, the one was just gone. They have been, you know, having some conflicts with the coach. So really, we don't need to see these, you know, conflicts again between him and the coach. They need to be at peace, so that the dressing room can also be at peace. Players should be, you know, motivated. You know, their salary should be, you know, get in time. I know, really, I'm just looking forward to him to have a great achievement to club or URA. But again, the club has also to support him. They have to stand behind the you know, his back, you know, to, you know, put in some money.
Okay, Jeremiah.
Yes.
Let's talk transfers. Maroons have been successfully been able to hold on Olinga.
Yeah.
What do you make of Maroons having dropped down to the relegation zone, actually to the FIFA big league in there?
Yes.
They have been able to hold on to one of their players, I can say, that they look up to take the club further.
Yeah, at the moment, many players at Maroons have uncertain future, but Emmanuel Olinga is one lucky one who has been certain of his future, and I think he shouldn't be down there in the FIFA big league with Maroons, in my own opinion, because I've seen him do wonders at Onduparaka with his good style of play. He's a good holding midfielder, and at times you see him throwing 1 or 2 tackles down the road, and he really looks well in their midfield. Although in the last season things haven't been happening for him, and at Maroons, I would say the only good thing that was there, it was Steven Desemukwala scoring those goals and being the top scorer, but all the rest wasn't going in so well. But with Olinga signing a new contract at Maroons FC down there, it's a really good deal for Maroons. I don't know if it's a good deal for Olinga, because I didn't want him to be that far away from the UPL, because the qualities he's got as a player are supposed to be in the UPL.
Wilvie,
Yeah.
we are having Maroons juggling more of like a pro line. This season they get back to the big league.
Yeah.
The following season they bounce back to the top tier league.
Yeah.
They survive for 1 season or 2, then they get dropped back. You're looking at them financed by the government. They're among the government institutional finance clubs together with UPDF. They are the club that seem to be struggling between the top tier and the second tier league there. What's happening in Maroons? What are they lacking that can stabilize their ship and they maintain the standard of the top tier football in the Uganda Premier League?
I'll first say the management is the problem right now as we're talking. But again, let me first talk about, you know, Olinga. I think in this case, you know, Maroons has benefited a lot. They have actually, Olinga is like a new signing to them, because I don't think they also expected to, you know, keep this guy at their club, given the fact that guy, you know, can change, can make wonders in the midfield. So really, we expect him to be at the likes of Vipers, likes of KCC, the likes of you are expert express. But right now,
yeah, but
and your work is
with Olinga. The problem I have with Olinga is consistency. Yeah, Olinga is not consistent enough to compete with the big defensive midfielders.
And then therefore, in that terms, it's still there's something that he needs to shape up in his career. I think it still needs some time in a club like Maroons to grow his career far, because if he rushes into, let's say, a club like URA comes calling in there, don't you think that he's simply going to bury his career?
I think no. It depends. You cannot say that he's going to, you know, kill off his player.
Because if you're having a player who is inconsistent in there, then at a club, a smaller club, then what are you going to present in a bigger platform? You're coming up with players with better cream.
I've seen players with, you know, I've seen players who are not consistent, but when it comes to some clubs, okay, the coach, you know, the coach handles players. It also matters a lot. So you might say, Martin, you know, Maroons, you know, being on and off, but when it comes to, you know, some big club, and you know, even the competition is too much. When when you're competing with someone like, okay, now let's say we're playing you know, we are same you know, team with Timo, I'll be, more of, chilling, because I know Timo cannot take away my position. But let's say I'm playing with someone who I know that, this guy can take up my position anytime soon. I'll put in much, energy and, work to be in that team. So really, you cannot write off Olinga saying that when he goes to a bigger club, he'll be, more of a bench player. No, I cannot say that. But let me try and think. If Olinga cannot go to Express, maybe KCCS, Express he can play. When he cannot go to, he can go to KCCS Express.
Today you have a graduate Express.
But on the previous defensive midfielder, Dennis Serukwaya of Express, I believe Olinga was a better figure.
You get so really. He cannot play at Express. He cannot. I can play Express.
At the moment, he cannot play in Bosa's style at Express.
Let me say, he cannot play at KCC. He cannot play at Vipers. He cannot play at the way you've said at URA. But trust me, when it comes to a team like Mbarara, he can play very well. You can play. So really, it's so sad for me to see me down there and that down La Ligue. I put it down because really people are not going to give in so much into this league. You get.
Jeremiah,
we need him up there.
Let's talk about the left back Dan, who having been having been released from Vipers. He says that he's not in a rush to sign for any club in the country in the top tier. But he talked about players with the quality dropping into the second tier, but he's giving it a second thought. He's not ruling out signing for any bigger club, any club who brings a better offer in the big league in there. And the rumor has it that a club, Davos Stars, that has been taken by one of the very wealthy engineer from West Nile. He's in the process of in the final stages of finalizing everything to acquire the club in there. They are presenting a good offer in for him there. What do you make of big league clubs coming in for players from the top tier?
It depends, and in the big league there are also big clubs that have the financial muscle more than the clubs up here in the EPL.
Wakiso Giants actually was one of those clubs that brought that eye opener. When they're in the second tier, they came and brought players had to switch from the Uganda Premier League down to the big league.
Yeah, and we also have a Chitara down there with a big financial muscle, and they can do wonders. But talking about Dan Bilikwalida is an experienced player who has been at Vipers, who started down at St. Mary's Chitende before
then he got promoted.
Yeah, then he got promoted to that Vipers side, and he's a player who has been really looking good of the previous years. If you remember Miguel da Costa's time at Chitende and this other Mexican
Espinoza.
Yeah, Espinoza at Vipers. You could see Dan Bilikwalida was really looking well. He's so versatile. He can play you in that midfield at right back and at left back.
I mean, left wing and the left back position.
Yeah, both of them, and he can really look the same in all those positions. His omission from Vipers FC, I wouldn't say it was. There were a lot of questions with the players who were sent away from St. Mary's Chitende during this Kajoma reign, and Dan Bilikwalida was one of them who had criticized the way they were let out of Chitende, and it really didn't look good. But with him saying that he's not in a hurry, he should be that way, because he still has time from that spell of his from Bright Stars FC down there. He didn't.
He went. The time he went to Chetume, but of course injuries are coming to play, and
even age is catching up with him.
Oh yeah.
Because I believe he's in that class of the Dennis Igumas.
Yes.
Yeah, which left Chitende. But if there is many of the clubs which need him, and I believe many of clubs would want his services. The likes of the KCCs, because they need it. If you're having a player in the names of Mustafa Chiza leaving Lugogo, you would need him to play in there. But if Davos Stars is up for the task, they can take him up if they have the financial muscle, because I believe he can offer a lot. He's a good player, and he has loads of experience on his back.
Wezi, from your camp, I want to throw this one to you. From your camp, Wakiso Giants, they are opening talks with Bukenya, with the KCCA. They want to make his move permanent in there. What value and addition is it going to be to your Wakiso Giants team?
I think you saw him last season. He was quite, some amazing, playing that team of Wakiso Giants, putting up, some nice performances here and there. So really, if Wakiso wants to make it permanent, then it's good to wait, because I'm pretty sure even if he goes back to KCCA, he's not going to play. I'm sure that he also happy to start Wakiso Giants, because sure of the place in that team of Wakiso Giants. And if you look at Wakiso Giants, I've been there in their camp, and I know what plans they have for the next season. So really,
what are those plans that they're having for the next season? Winning the league.
Some plans are confidential. I cannot expose them on air, but just know Wakiso is going to be one of the biggest team when it comes to next season. So you might even end up seeing them lifting up that trophy.
Do you see them lifting the trophy?
Yeah, honestly, nothing is impossible in football. So really, like I've told you, if they have those big plans, the way they are planning their stuff, why not? They can lift that trophy.
Between Wakiso Giants and Express, who do you lift the trophy?
Don't talk about Express.
No, because they're also having changes in there. Chiwanuka is bringing in changes in there. He has touched Bossa in 3 years. He wants something on table. He wants a trophy on table. I think league title.
Of course, within 1 season he will bring a trophy. That one I assure you.
Okay, Jeremiah. So of the two, Wakiso Giants and Express, obviously, who do you think lay their hands on the trophy before the
year? Going to say Express.
Wakiso, I expect them to get a good finish in the league. Then
same as Express.
With Express, Express, I would expect them to get a big finish, but with Bossa and his tactics, because his tactics are kind of a Mourinho type. But I believe many of the teams haven't yet adapted to his kind of game. If you have seen him do it at Toro,
there's that game with Onuparaka where he got that red card early, but full time he was able to walk away with all the 3 points in a row.
Yeah, he knows how to organize defenses, and he has done it not once, not twice. Of
course, having been a defender in there, shaping up a defense wouldn't be a problem.
We all know the problems at Express. Are we sure that he's going to finish up the season? That's the reason also. That's the question you should ask yourself. Don't be surprised when you wake up in the morning and be like, the guy is off. He's being, chased up. With
Chirora Chiwanuka in there, and the love that the fans have shown him, unlike the love they showed
George. You're joking with those fans. Let him lose 5 matches. You will see that those guys are not
But of course, let's talk KCC. Time is running out because there is a bid coming from APR of Rwanda for Samuel Kato Nehemana. A bid of around $50,000 has been rejected by KCC. Should they be losing Kato at this time?
They should not. That's not, there is an obvious no. Of course, if you are team of KCCA, you'll be losing players to some, other point, African teams in there and out. So this time around, you have to put, hold. You have to keep hold on your best of your player, and one of your best players, at the club. So really, if you look at the way why KCCA was, KCCA didn't win this trophy, of this season. Really, they lost some good players, and they did replace them quite well. So really, if actually have managed to put hold on Kato this time around, then I give them a big con, because we still need also need to ship players from those teams to bring them to our club, KCCA. I'm Uganda football, so really, I feel so bad to see our players going outside Uganda. When we reach to continental football, we will play nothing. We play rubbish. So really,
Jeremiah,
yes,
what makes our players leave the country here and go to Rwanda?
In Rwanda.
How would you rate the league in Rwanda and the league in Uganda here?
I don't think.
I think the the league in Rwanda would bring in much more money than the league of Uganda,
Exactly.
but talent-wise,
should KCCA be releasing, because they're sticking to a fee of about $100,000 if APR can cough out that money, and then they can think of releasing their defender either. Should they be losing Kato right now because they are going for continental football, and then they need in depth in that squad in there?
Yeah.
Fine, you can say we have Revita, but Revita is out. We have signed Dennis Guma, but Dennis Guma is not going to stay there for long.
True.
He has simply come in this team to market himself at continental level, at a higher level.
Yeah.
Anytime a bigger offer comes to him, he's going to jump on the plane and leave you. Having sold Kato, you're going to struggle and find hard time to get that replacement to stand in that defense in there. Should they be losing Kato?
Losing Kato, they shouldn't be, but we are all talking about a KCC AFC that assigned 70 players within 5 years, and anything can happen with Mike Mutebi and the KCCA board. If you're talking of money, the KCCA board, anytime anything can happen. With Kato, I'm sure they won't lose him this time because I think it's too late, and with the pandemic that has been happening all over the different countries, I don't see them signing another young player, because he's a young player who has come in down there from the ranks, the class of 2018, after the Alan Okellos, and he has been putting up good performances down there for KCC and the under 20, and I don't see KCCA letting him go at the moment, though I can't be quite sure about that.
Of course, if you ask me, this project of KCCA has paid them off, well paid them off, because you talk about the project and that they had players like Alan Okello.
That was the class of 2017.
Julius Poloto. They talk about Mustafa Kiza.
Peter
Magambo. If you realize that already they are benefiting financially, Alan Okello has moved. Mustafa Kiza is in there.
So Lawrence Mukenya, the man you've been talking about in the Wakiso Jazz.
So realize that they've benefited a lot of money they have gotten from the sale of these players in there. I think this is the way that our clubs do have to go. They should borrow a mileage. They should borrow what these teams the Vipers are doing, KCCs are doing. If Wakiso Giants can put up something like that, then they could be having something really big for the future. If our traditional giants like Express, Villa can stabilize their ships and start having vibrant youth structures, and then it's going to pay them off, because if you have KCC getting $180,000 from Alan Okello, rather from Mustafa Kiza, if they can get $200,000 from the sale of Alan Okello in there, then the need have been for a player for about say you can say 3, 4, 5 years in there from their youth ranks to the time of the senior level. Then it's going to really pay us a lot. With it, our time is up. Your final remarks, sir. Maybe to Wakiso Giants fans.
I think to Wakiso Giants fans, they all know we have great plans for the team, and I think probably we are winning the cup this time around. No doubt for that. Express, be lying behind our backs, I think so. So really, I want to end up, sending my shout out to everybody that has been, locked on the show. I want to send my shout out to Shannon Stewart there in Chengida. A big fan is always, complaining why you don't talk about, the Man U signings. But Stuart will be getting that, I think later on sports. So really, on Friday actually. So Stuart, get your tabs on Friday. Really be getting that, how Man United are signed. For now, thank you so much for hosting me and Jeremiah. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, Jeremiah.
Yes.
If you are to look at the table starting of UPL last season, who finished ahead of the other? Express or Wakiso Giants?
Wakiso.
In which position were they? Which position were they?
Wakiso was
that will be a debate for another day. Your final remarks. Our time is up.
Thank you guys for listening in, and those watching us on our YouTube channel, many thanks, and greetings out to all those that love the show, and stay tuned, because we shall not get tired. We are here to bring you nothing but the best in the world of sport.
Of course, thank you so much, everyone who has been logged in to Sports Talk Arena. We shall be back here again on Friday. We get to bring the best of local. My name is Timothy. I've been in studio with Wizzy and Jeremiah. Reminding that you can go on Facebook, like our Facebook page at Sports Talk Arena, and not forgetting on YouTube at Sports Talk Arena. That's what we had for you for now. Bye bye.